My hypothesis is that when normal ice melts, it'll go into water, and when the dry ice melts, it'll turn into ice. My hypothesis is when you put what happens with dry ice and cold ice? What happens? What does?
My hypothesis is the dry ice will just, when it melts, it will just turn into just normal ice, and when the normal ice, when it melts, it will just turn into water. My hypothesis is when we do it, put the dry ice in the, try and melt it. It's not going to melt. It's just going to stay the same, and the normal ice is just going to melt into water.
My hypothesis is when the normal ice melts, that it will turn into water, and when the dry ice melts, it will turn into little specks of ice.
That's our hypothesis. My observation is that when we put the dry ice in the water, it steamed up and sort of melted down and shrank. And when we done it with the normal ice,
It steamed up as well.
yeah, it sort of steamed up and melted.
My observation was that when you drop the dry ice into the container, it's just steamed up. My observation was when we put the dry ice into the hot water, it didn't melt or anything, it just really steamed up, and when we put the normal ice in the water, all it did was just bubble up.
My hypothesis is that the dry ice turned into a gas and went everywhere, and for the normal ice, it just went into water and just went everywhere.
George!
My observation was when we put it in, it all steamed up and it made a gas instead of just melting, and yeah.
My hypothesis is for when we put the leaf, the banana, and the dry ice and the meth, is that it'll probably start bubbling up and then fizzing up, and then like steam will come out of the bowl.
My hypothesis is when you put the leaves, the dried ice, and the banana into the mix, I think it will make a bubbling noise. When we put the banana, the leaf, and the dried ice in and try and hit them, the banana will burst, and when we put the dried ice in, it will bubble up. My hypothesis is when we put the banana and leaves in the mix, it's gonna all bubble up and steam.
My hypothesis is that when we put the leaf in the banana and the dry ice in it will just mush up and go really thick.
Here's what the banana will look like. Banana will crush it. What are you doing? Crush it. Is that poisonous? Don't touch your mouth. Oh. No, I'm not. Can I crack the banana? Oh, too hard. Can we have the mashed potatoes with the tomato on and beans on the outside?
You go grab some more, please.
Mr. Allen, I love you. Can I put it in the air? Can I put it in the air? I'm not touching it. I'm touching it. You made it look weird though. You made it look like where's my mushroom? Look at the banana. Oh, whoa. Krusty, listen. Krusty the clown. No, look at the clown.
My observation is that when we put the banana, the leaf, in the dry ice, and it started steaming up. And when we'd taken the banana and the leaf out, it hardened up and it was easy to crack. But once you touched it, it softened up and you could see fingerprints.
My observation was when we put the leaves and banana in the mess, it went all freezing and it was really crispy and stuff.
I observed that when you got the banana and the leaves in it, they went all crispy.
I observed when we put the leaves and the banana in, it went, they actually like froze and they went all hard, and because it actually froze it.
My observation is that when we put the leaf to the banana and the frozen ice, he took them out and then it went all hard and all the juice got sucked out, and that's my observation.
My hypothesis is that when we put the cake cutter on top of the dry ice might start shrinking and then start steaming up. My hypothesis is when you get the cake cutter and put it on top of the dry ice, I think it will go everywhere.
My hypothesis is when we put the cake cutter on the ice, it's gonna burst out and smoke.
My hypothesis is that when we chop the dry ice, it's going to shoot everywhere.
My hypothesis is when we put the hot cake cutter on the dried ice, it will steam up like the hot water and the dried ice.
Making it straight. Now it's really straight.
My observation is that when we put the cake cutter on top of the ice, it made this kind of squeaking sound, and then he put it in some hot water and started making a sound, and then when it was cold it didn't make the sound, and that's my observation. I observed that when we put the cake cutter on the dry ice, it made a squeaking noise.
My observation was when we put the cake cutter on, it made sort of a squeaky sound and it really hurt our ears. When we put the cake cutter on, because it was warm, it touched the ice and they vibrated and made a loud squeaking noise, and it wasn't very good for your ears.
My observation is that the dry ice went really loud and everybody didn't like it. That's my observation.
My hypothesis is that when we put the dry ice and the Coca-Cola bottle and we seal the lid on, I think that steam will come out. Well, the lid will probably blow off, and yeah, that's my hypothesis. My hypothesis is when you put dry ice into water, I think it will come out of the bottle.
My hypothesis is when we put the thing in the bottle, it's going to explode.
My hypothesis is that when we put the lid on, it's gonna stay bubble up, and then when he takes it off, it's gonna go everywhere, and everything's gonna have a power surge.
When we put the dried ice in the Coca-Cola bottle, it is going to. The bottle lid is going to come off, and it's going to.
By a jumbo jet. It wasn't easy, but nothing is. No. When I feel heavy metal, and I feel that I need when I lie and I'm easy all of the time, but I'm never sure why I need you. Down when I was young. It's not my problem. It's not my problem.
My observation is that when we put the ice in the bottles, it was so cool. It exploded, and look, I got some things, and it was so cool when it exploded. It was like sort of like fireworks or a bonfire. I observed that when we dropped the dried ice into the cold water, after a while went boom. My observation was when we put the ice into the water, it just went poof.
I observed that when we did the experiment, it just absolutely just blew up and it just exploded. And this is what it looked like before we done it, and this is what it turned out to be. It was pretty crazy, and I found the lid was found almost 20 meters, or just walking with long steps, 20 of those away from it, where we did it.
My observation is that it was so cool that when Mr. Allen put the ice in a bottle like this, he closed it. We had to wait there for like 5 minutes for it to get up to like this. It was like all the white shoots get up, and then it was like 20 or like 50 steps away from us, or else it would hit us and we would get hypothermia. So it was like that far away from us, and this is what had happened to it. It was like this, and it turned out to be this. That is my observation.